Evan Hale never thought his life would change inside a dusty repair bay. He was an ordinary human mechanic, covered in engine grease, fixing broken colony transporters for low pay. He did not believe in luck, and he never played any lottery. But that morning, his coworker pushed a shiny card into his hand and laughed. It was a Galactic Lottery ticket, glowing faintly with alien script. Evan tried to give it back, but the scanner already marked it as registered. He shook his head, smiled a little, and placed the useless ticket in his pocket without thinking about it again. Hours later, everything changed. The entire colony shook when a deep alarm echoed across the sky. Huge hologram screens lit up over streets, shops, and stations. Evan wiped his hands on a cloth as he stepped outside with confused eyes. Then he froze. His name was shining in giant golden letters in the sky. A message repeated over the colony speakers again and again. Winner detected. Galactic Lottery prize inbound. People around him gasped, some cheering, others panicking. Soldiers ran toward his direction, their boots pounding like rolling thunder. Before Evan even understood what was happening, human security surrounded him. You have been chosen, the commander said in a serious tone, and this choice is dangerous. Evan tried to laugh, thinking it was a mistake, but the soldiers were not joking. They guided him to the colony landing zone, telling him the same thing again and again. The prize he won was not money. It was not freedom. It was something given by the Volran Empire, humanity's oldest enemy. No one knew why the Volran created a galaxy-wide lottery or why humans were forced to take part. But one thing was clear. The Volran never offered gifts. They offered traps. The landing zone filled with people. Families stood on rooftops, soldiers aimed weapons at the sky, and the air felt thick with tension. Everyone waited for the prize to arrive. Evan's heart pounded hard as a strange silver shuttle appeared above the colony, moving smoothly like a ghost. It landed gently, and a silence spread across the entire base. The door opened. 3 figures walked out. 3 fox-eared girls with glowing tails and royal markings on their skin. Their steps were gentle, their eyes bright, and their expressions calm. The crowd fell silent. Even the soldiers lowered their weapons in shock. The girls stopped in front of Evan as if they had known him for years. The first girl bowed deeply. The second lowered her head with respect. The third placed her hand on her chest and whispered, "Chosen one, we finally found you." Evan felt the world spin. Why were they calling him that? Why were enemy royal brides acting like he was their true master? No one understood what they were seeing. Not even the commander. People whispered around him, unsure if they should fear him now. But everything got worse. A warning alert flashed in the sky. Volran warships appeared in orbit. The peace treaty trembled in danger. The commander whispered urgently to Evan, "If you accept them, our own people may accuse you of betrayal. If you reject them, the Volran will execute them immediately. Choose wisely." The eldest bride lifted her eyes. "If you deny us, we die," she said in a quiet voice. The second bride took his arm gently. "If you accept us, we stay with you forever." The youngest looked straight into his eyes. "We will protect you even if the galaxy burns." Evan did not understand why they wanted him. He did not understand why the Empire had sent them. But he understood one thing very clearly. His ordinary life was over. The entire galaxy was watching his next move. A human mechanic had become the center of a political storm. And he still had no idea why these fox-eared brides kept calling him the chosen mate. Evan walked beside the 3 fox brides, surrounded by armed soldiers who looked more nervous than he felt. The brides stayed close to him like shadows, their glowing tails brushing lightly against the metal floor as they entered the colony's secure base. Everyone stared at them with fear and confusion. Humans had fought the Volran for centuries, and this was the first time anyone saw royal daughters walking willingly beside a human. Inside the command center, bright lights and heavy screens covered the walls. The commander ordered the soldiers to watch every movement carefully. Evan stood in the middle, feeling the weight of hundreds of eyes on him. He did not understand why the brides acted like he was important. He was just a mechanic, not a hero, not a warrior, not a leader. But the brides looked at him like he was something more. The eldest bride stepped forward. Her voice was soft but steady. "My name is Lyra," she said. "I am the first daughter of the Voran royal line." She touched her tail lightly as if it helped her stay calm. Lyra had a serious expression, as if she carried heavy secrets. The second bride stepped beside her. "I am Saran," she said. "I am trained in strategy and communication." Her glowing markings pulsed gently, like small waves under her skin. The youngest bride moved closer to Evan, as if she felt safer near him. "My name is Vixia," she said. Her eyes were sharp, but her voice carried a gentle warmth. "I am the youngest. I am not supposed to be here, but fate brought me." The room stayed silent as the three sisters shared a look. They seemed scared, but also hopeful. Then Lyra turned to Evan. "You must know the truth," she said. "We were not sent here as a gift." The commander stepped forward. "Then why?" he demanded. Saran took a slow breath. "We were raised as royal hostages. Our empire selected us from birth. We were trained to be sacrifices. The Galactic Lottery was created not to reward humans, but to create chaos." She glanced at Evan with sad eyes. "The plan was simple. Choose a human. Deliver us to him. Then kill him. The Voran would blame humans for attacking royal daughters. A new war would begin." Fear rippled across the room. Evan felt cold. "So I was supposed to die," he said softly. Lyra nodded. "Yes. But when we saw you," she paused, as if searching for the right words. "Everything changed." Vixia stepped forward and placed her hand on Evan's arm. "Your presence awakened something inside us," she whispered. "We felt a connection we only heard about in old stories." Saran continued, "Our empire has a prophecy. Once in every era, there is one male in the galaxy who can resonate with the Voran energy core. It gives him the power to unite the clans and change the fate of our people." Lyra looked directly into Evan's eyes. "You are that human." The command center erupted in whispers. Evan shook his head. "I fix engines," he said. "I do not have any power. I am not special." But the bride stepped closer, forming a protective circle around him. Their markings glowed brighter, matching the rhythm of his heartbeat. Soldiers raised their weapons, unsure if the brides were attacking. Lyra suddenly lifted her hand. A faint wave of energy spread from her fingers, disarming the closest weapons with a soft hum. The soldiers backed away, unsettled. "We are not here to harm humans," Lyra said. "But we will not be separated from him." Saran tapped on a nearby console, using her ability to lock the doors electronically. Vixia moved in front of Evan, her tail flickering with bright fire-like energy as she prepared to defend him. In that moment, Evan understood something important. These three sisters were willing to fight for him, even die for him. And he still did not know why the galaxy chose him. The locked doors shook as alarms echoed across the human base. Soldiers yelled orders, screens flashed warnings, and tension filled every corner of the command center. Evan stood in the middle with the three fox brides around him, their glowing markings bright and tense. The commander slammed his hand on the console. "Unlock the doors right now," he demanded. Saran stayed calm. "If we unlock them, your people will separate us. If that happens, the Empire's assassins will strike. They are already on their way." Her voice was firm, but her eyes showed fear. She knew exactly how far the Voran Empire would go to retrieve the royal brides, or eliminate them. Lyra placed her hand gently on Evan's shoulder. "The moment we chose you, the Empire's plan broke. They will try to fix it with force. Vixia nodded, her tail flickering with bright sparks. She sensed danger like a wildfire sensing wind. Suddenly the lights went out. The base dropped into emergency mode. Red lights flashed. The air felt heavy, as if the whole colony was holding its breath. The commander stared at the screens as a new message appeared. Unidentified crafts approaching. Stealth class. Likely Volrin. His voice trembled. They are already here. The brides moved closer to Evan, forming a defensive circle. Lyra whispered, "Stay behind us. Whatever happens, do not let them take you." Evan nodded, feeling fear twist inside him. He was a simple mechanic. He never fought in a war. But now, he stood in the center of a conflict he did not understand. The doors burst open as human soldiers rushed in, ready to evacuate them. "We need to move," the lieutenant shouted. Enemy infiltrators landed outside the base. They are after the brides and the human. Evan only had time to grab his jacket before the escort team surrounded them. The group ran through dim hallways with heavy boots pounding behind them. The brides stayed close, their steps light and silent. Lyra's eyes glowed faintly as she sensed incoming attacks. Saran hacked control panels along the way, shutting doors and opening new escape routes. Vixia kept watching the shadows, ready to strike. They reached an emergency transport vehicle. Before anyone could enter, a sharp hiss of energy sliced through the air. A Volrin assassin appeared on the rooftop, moving so fast he looked like a blur. His tail glowed with deadly blue flames. "Give us the chosen human," he growled. "Or die protecting him." Human soldiers fired. The assassin dodged every shot as if he knew the bullets' paths before they were fired. Vixia jumped forward, her tail bursting into bright fire as she clashed with the assassin. The impact sent shockwaves across the ground. Sparks burned the metal floor. Evan stood frozen as he watched the youngest bride fight with terrifying strength. Lyra pulled Evan back. "We must move," she said urgently. "Vixia can hold him for a moment, but more are coming." Saran opened the vehicle door and pushed Evan inside. Lyra followed. Vixia retreated after blocking another strike, leaping into the vehicle just as the assassin charged toward them. The doors shut. The escort driver slammed the controls. The vehicle sped down the underground tunnel. From the small rear window, Evan saw 5 more Volrin assassins enter the base, their tails glowing with dangerous energy. "They will not stop," Saran whispered. "You broke their prophecy. And now they want to erase you." Evan clenched his fists. "I never asked for this," he said softly. His voice shook, but his eyes did not. Lyra placed her hand over his. "Fate does not ask," she said gently. "It chooses." The vehicle burst out of the colony and into the desert. Explosions lit the sky behind them as Volrin infiltrators attacked the base. Human drones fired back. A full battle began. Evan stared at the chaos, feeling something heavy settle in his heart. The Empire wanted him dead. The humans did not trust him. The only ones standing with him were the 3 Fox brides. And they were ready to fight the entire galaxy to keep him alive. The desert stretched endlessly around them as the transport vehicle sped across the cracked ground. The engines roared, shaking the metal frame, while dust clouds rose behind them like giant brown waves. Evan sat between the 3 Fox brides, feeling the weight of every second. The danger was still close. The assassins would not give up. The human soldiers guarding them kept scanning the skies, expecting another attack at any moment. After nearly an hour, the driver slowed the vehicle. A tall, silent structure appeared ahead, an abandoned research station built during the early years of the human-Volrin conflict. The place looked dead, its walls cracked and half buried in sand. But Lyra nodded with certainty. "This is the place," she said. The old records are inside. They will explain why the Empire fears you. The station doors opened with a deep metallic groan. Inside, the air was cold and thick with dust. Dim emergency lights blinked weakly, creating long shadows on the walls. Evan followed the brides into a control chamber filled with old screens and data cores. Saran immediately began connecting broken cables with her glowing fingers, using her energy to revive the dying systems. Sparks flew, but the screens flickered to life. Lyra placed her hand on the console, activating an ancient Volran symbol. A soft hum filled the room. The machine scanned Evan's face, then scanned the bride's. A new screen opened, one that had been locked for more than 100 years. It showed humans. Old humans. Images of early explorers, standing beside Volran ancestors. The screen displayed an ancient message in the Volran language. Saran translated it slowly, her voice shaking. It says, "Record of the resonant core. Only one male in each great cycle can activate it. Only one can bind with the royal line. Only one can change the fate of the Fox clans." Evan stepped closer. "But why me?" Lyra looked at him with calm, heavy eyes. "Your ancestors once visited our world. They carried a rare genetic signal, something that affects Volran energy. Only a few humans have possessed it across history. The Empire destroyed the old records to hide the truth. They feared the idea that a human could influence the royal bloodline." Saran continued softly, "If the chosen human bonds with the royal daughters, their powers become stable and stronger. Their energy cores link together. It could end the war. Or it could reshape the Empire itself." Vixia placed her hand on Tyler's chest gently. "Your presence calms us. It strengthens us. It awakens something deep inside our energy cores. You are not just a winner of a lottery. You are the key to the core we carry." The screen showed another message. This one darker. "If the chosen one rejects the royal daughters, the energy destabilizes. The daughters die. Their clans fall into chaos. The Empire collapses." Evan felt his heart tighten. "So if I had refused you, you would all be dead right now?" Lyra nodded quietly. "Yes. We knew the risk. But we chose you anyway." He sat down, overwhelmed. He had lived his life fixing machines, saving small wages, and dreaming of a peaceful future. He never wanted power. He never wanted to be special. But now the galaxy expected him to play a role greater than kings and commanders. The human soldiers exchanged looks of fear and confusion. Even they could not deny what the records showed. The chosen human was real. And he was sitting right in front of them. Suddenly, the lights flickered. The station's alarm system activated again. A loud warning echoed through the metallic halls. "Multiple ships incoming." Saran quickly checked the scanners. Her face went pale. "It is not just assassins this time. It is the Volran Royal Fleet. They found us." Vixia stepped in front of Evan, fire crackling from her tail. "They do not want to bring us home," she whispered. "They want to erase the prophecy." Lyra gently touched Evan's hand. Her voice was steady despite the fear in her eyes. "The final part of the prophecy is clear. If you stand with us, the core will activate. The galaxy will change." Evan looked at them, 3 royal daughters willing to fight an empire for him. He swallowed hard, knowing there was no turning back. "Then we stand together," he said quietly. Outside, the sky filled with warships. The ground vibrated as Volran warships filled the sky, their sleek silver bodies shining like blades under the harsh desert sun. Human drones scrambled upward to intercept them, swarming the air like metal insects. A deep thunder rolled across the sand. The abandoned research station, silent for decades, now stood at the center of a coming storm. Evan felt his heartbeat match the rumble of engines overhead. Inside the control chamber, the brides gathered close. Lyra closed her eyes, sensing the pressure in the air. They brought the royal fleet, she said softly. The highest families themselves. They want to erase the prophecy before it awakens fully. Saran tapped keys with quick, glowing fingers. They locked onto our energy signatures. They know exactly where we are. She swallowed hard. And they know exactly who is with us. Vixia stepped in front of Evan, her tail flickering with bright fire. They will try to take you, she whispered. Or they will try to end you. They cannot allow a human to bond with the royal line. Evan looked around the room. Human soldiers stood ready, though fears shook their hands. They had never faced a full Voran royal fleet before. He knew they were outnumbered. He knew the brides were terrified. But something inside him felt strangely calm. Maybe it was the energy they awakened in him. Maybe it was the prophecy. Or maybe it was the simple truth, he could not let these girls die for him. A violent explosion shook the station. The walls trembled. Dust rained from the ceiling. The main doors glowed under heavy plasma fire. The fleet was breaching their shelter. The commander shouted for everyone to brace. We cannot hold them, he yelled. We need to fall back. But Lyra shook her head. Running will not help, she said. The prophecy says the core activates where the chosen one accepts his role. And that moment must happen now. She placed a hand on Evan's chest. You must choose, Evan Hale. Reject us and we fall. Accept us and the galaxy changes. Saran opened a hidden compartment on the console. Inside rested a crystal sphere, glowing with swirling red, gold, and blue energy. This is the resonant core, she explained. It was sealed long ago. Only the chosen one can open it. Vixia took Evan's hand. And only with all three of us touching you at the same time, she whispered. She glanced nervously at the breaking door. We do not have much time. Another explosion ripped through the hallway. The final door cracked. The silhouettes of Voran royal guards appeared behind the smoke, their glowing tails lighting the dust. Their weapons were raised. Their voices carried a cold, royal command. Step away from the human. This is your final warning. The brides trembled. They knew these guards. They knew their cruelty. But they did not move. Lyra wrapped her hand around Evan's arm. Saran placed her palm on his shoulder. Vixia pressed her hand against his chest. Their markings glowed brighter, pulsing with a deep rhythm that matched his heartbeat. The core floated upward, drawn by their energy. Evan felt warmth spread through his body, like light filling every corner of his mind. It did not hurt. It felt right. The core responded. The three brides' tails ignited in bright colors, forming a circle of energy around them. A loud crack burst through the room as the resonant core split open. A wave of golden light surged outward. It expanded through the station, through the sand, through the sky. Human drones froze mid-air. Voran warships powered down instantly. Plasma cannons dimmed. Engines fell silent. The entire battlefield froze in one breath. The royal guards dropped their weapons in shock. The energy made their tails flicker uncontrollably. Lyra opened her eyes, glowing with power. The prophecy is fulfilled, she whispered. Saran smiled softly. The core is stable. The clans will no longer fight. Vixia leaned her forehead against Evan's shoulder. You saved us, she breathed. You saved everyone. The sky grew quiet. Not a ship moved. Not a gun fired. Peace fell like a heavy blanket across the desert. Outside, representatives of both sides knelt, not to a commander, not to an emperor, but to a simple human mechanic standing with three fox-eared princesses at his side. Evan Hale had become the bridge between two empires. And as the brides held his hands, their eyes soft and full of new hope, he realized something powerful. This was not a prize. It was a beginning.